If your child has trouble managing, controlling, or expressing their emotions, this could mean that they have trouble with emotional regulation. What is emotional regulation exactly? Emotional regulation, also known as self-regulation, is a person's ability to manage their emotions, meaning they have the ability to monitor and control the emotions they are having, when they have them, and how they experience or express them in everyday life. For children, this is a key developmental milestone, and this starts from the very early years and goes on throughout childhood. As a foster or a biological parent, you're probably asking, why should this matter to you? Emotional regulation is important to understand because we are all emotional beings. We start life with initial emotional reactions, such as crying, hunger, pain, frustration. These all come as soon as we're born. But as we grow, our emotional intelligence grows with us. Incorporating positive emotional learning into everyday life can help your child develop their own emotional intelligence. Also, as parents, your reactions to your child's emotions can have a great impact on their emotional well-being and self-regulation. When you can give your child the tools for them to successfully identify and express their emotions in a socially appropriate way, you will be making it easier for them to face whatever life throws their way. Around the age of 1, infants have the awareness that their caregivers can help them regulate their emotions. But once they are past the infancy stage and they are in the toddler stage, they start to understand that specific emotions are associated with specific situations, such as the emotion of happiness when their parent walks into the room, or the emotion of sadness when their favorite toy is taken away from them. As a parent, this is actually a good time to talk to your child about their emotions and try to help them understand or name the specific emotions they are having. Also, remember that a huge aspect of how children learn to manage their emotions is by watching you. Around the age of 2, a child should be able to begin to create strategies for themselves to handle more difficult emotions. For example, if they are fearful of something in the room, they will take themselves out of that situation by walking or crawling away. Now you may be thinking, what else can I do to help my child control their emotions as they grow? One strategy to help your toddler develop emotional skills is to name emotions with them. This just means that in everyday occasions, you can take a second and ask your child things like, why do you think they're sad? Or, wow, he looks angry. What do you think happened? You can do this in either real-life situations, or while reading a story with them, or while watching a movie. Other strategies that may be useful as a parent are selection, modification, and distraction. You can use these strategies in different situations that may spark emotions such as anger, fear, or sadness. First, we'll start with talking about selection. Selection means that you can help your child pick specific play activities that will promote positive emotions instead of negative emotions. This obviously depends on your child's preferences, but for example, you could suggest or even put out a toy in front of them that you know they will play well with in most environments. Now let's talk a little bit about modification and how you can use this strategy to help your child self-regulate. Modification means changing the difficulty of a task by making it easier for them to complete. For example, you can make an activity like playing a game slightly easier for them by giving them step-by-step directions before the game, doing an action for them during the game, or simplifying the rules until they are able to do the activity on their own with no anger or frustration. Another strategy, and the last one we'll talk about here, is distraction. This is just how it sounds. Distracting them when you see something may be going wrong. If you can tell they're about to get upset, angry, or fearful by a situation, you can try distracting them with their favorite toy, playing a quick game of peekaboo, or anything else that you know makes them happy. As toddlers grow older and learn these strategies, they should begin to handle these situations on their own. But it is important to remember how to use these strategies early on in order to prepare them for the future. In the first half of this video, we saw and heard the words children and child a lot, but we were mainly talking about toddlers. Now let's talk about older children and the childhood years. In the childhood years, there's many emotions that they experience, and these are sometimes considered secondary emotions. These secondary emotions are learned from our experiences. So that means that if a child has been yelled at or punished because of a possible meltdown or a tantrum, the next time that this happens, they might start to feel anxious or even angry. But unlike toddlers, older children should be able to understand and distinguish between an appropriate emotional response versus an inappropriate emotional response. However, if a child was not given the proper tools from an early age, then they may not have learned how to identify what they are feeling or name their emotions. Then it may be harder for them to ultimately express what they are feeling in an appropriate way. So, for older children who may still be having difficulty with emotional regulation, you can break it down into a 3-step process that helps them learn 1. To identify different emotions, 2. To identify the things that trigger specific emotions, and 3. How to manage their emotions on their own. As a parent, you can assist in this 3-step process by validating your child's emotions and by creating a sense of normalcy around expressing their feelings in a positive way. Now that we talked about the 3-step process, how else can you help your child develop these emotional strengths? As briefly mentioned earlier, modeling is a very important aspect for a child to learn. Modeling, or how you act in front of them during adverse situations, can help teach what an appropriate behavior looks like. But remember, this works in the opposite direction as well. Kids easily pick up on adults' emotions, so being able to control your emotional reactions and show them that not all negative situations need to end in an angry outburst can be a helpful tool for them in the future. Another way you can promote positive emotional regulation is to make your child feel safe. That sounds pretty simple, right? But it's true. Safety is key, especially when a child has had negative experiences in the past that make it harder for them to express their emotions now. Right alongside safety is validation. Validating their emotions and giving them a space to express themselves can promote appropriate self-regulation skills even when dealing with the more difficult feelings. Remember, as a biological or a foster parent, be there for your child both physically and emotionally when they're having tough times. When children have gone through adverse events in their lives, emotional regulation does not always come easy. Creating that safe and open environment can be a start to healthier emotional responses for both you and your child. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any further questions or want to know more, please visit Lawrence Hall's foster care page or contact Lawrence Hall through the information on their website. Thank you again.